Yeah, dear learners, I welcome you all for the online platform. So, under the honors degree program, you are carrying out the course by name Warehousing Automation. Now, with respect to the contents, we are learning about the warehousing process. That is the first unit. It is going to completely deal with the warehousing process. And as of now, in the earlier e-content, you have learned about the first six chapters, that is warehousing automation technologies. So now we are getting into the further things. So now, how the syllabus has been framed, let us make a very crucial observation. So initially you have been informed about warehouse processes, then gradually you are getting into understanding warehouse challenges, then human error, then technology oriented error, likewise you just classify the errors. Then how to solve the thing is by applying some sort of automation based technologies, and we learned about what is warehouse automation, what are the cluster of technologies. As such, there are 10 such technologies are there, and now we'll get into the further things, that is types and benefits. What are the different types of automations are there, and what are the indirect benefits as well as the direct benefits. We'll just learn about all these things in the presentation. The term warehousing automation we just learnt already. Now let us fastly will summarize all those things. So first we'll start with automation. Automation is defined as the process of using technology to perform tasks with human minimal intervention. As well, it is essentially required for the case of repetitive tasks. This is what we learned in the earlier presentation. And now warehousing automation is, yes, we are going to apply the automation concepts inside a warehouse for the case of automating the movement of inventory into, within and out of the warehouses to customers with minimal human assistance or intervention. Now we'll classify them. We'll get into the classification. So the moment you wanted to automate a warehouse, there are two possibilities over there. So the first possibility is going to be digital process automation, and the second thing is physical process automation. So we should have a thorough understanding between either things, that is digital as well as physical. So before getting into the classification, now we need to make a very clear understanding why that is essential. Why that is essential. Now let me give a very simple example before we get into the further things. The first thing is we have got a warehouse. Within the warehouse, we have got only 10 cars. Okay, commercial passenger cars. We have got 10 cars of various specification. Say diesel cars of some numbers, manual, within which those diesel cars, say, let me put like this: 5 cars are there of diesel and 5 more cars are of petrol. So within the 5 diesel cars, there are two variants. One is manual transmission and other thing is automatic transmission. Likewise for the petrol cases also there, let us assume. So this is what the product nature is all about. Now today we have received an order so that 2 manual cars of petrol, 2 manual cars of diesel are just getting away. They have been sold. Now this has to be automated. Automated means this data has to be properly entered. What is the engine number? What is the chassis number? Who was the person to do this data entry? Who is the one did the pre-delivery inspection? Likewise, so many data are essential. This is very simple case where we have got only the final product, finished product, and that too of only hand few numbers. But that is not going to be the case for a real world warehouse. Okay, there it is going to be n number of products, n number of specifications, size, different qualities, cost, everything comes into picture. So now what does this digital means? It is going to essentially focus on the data capture. It is going to focus on the data related activities. So that is what is digital process automation is all about. Physical process automation means it is going to help in the movement of product from one space or from one point to another point within the warehouse space. It is not going to focus beyond. It is not going to focus towards input, or it is not going to focus towards output. Within the warehouse only it is going to focus. So now we'll have a very thorough understanding. There are two types of automation possibilities are there. The first type is digital process which is going to work only with respect to data, or more or less it is going to confine itself with respect to the inventory data. Second case, physical process. It is going to help in assisting the movement of the product within, this is very important, within the warehouse. Maybe for the case of storage, or for the case of picking up, or for the case of packing, whatever may be there. Irrespective to it, it is going to essentially focus on physical movement. So this is what we should have a very good clarity in this regard. Now, this is what the simple graph which depicts the performance inside the warehouse. So now these all are the cluster of technologies, and these all are the activities done by the respective head. So now we'll start from physical process. So now the immediate member is warehouse management system. So robotics are going to take care. So this is an example case roadmap which is adopted in industry towards warehouse automation. First is robots. Robots are going to pick and place somewhere, or it is going to sort and it is going to store, whatever may be the nature of tasks they do. And how the digitally it will be monitored is, the digital counterpart will be using any smart devices, say a mobile phone, a tablet, or a smartphone. That will tell us the count how many the robots did. So I hope now you will be able to have a very good understanding on this. Robot will pick and place how many parts was picked up by the robot, how many parts has it positioned in the particular point. So this data has to be known. Robot will not tell us all these things. So we should have a smart device being connected to the robot. That smart device will get us all this data. Then second, GTP. So GTP system already we learned about it. So GTP means obviously it's about network. So network means again we need to depend upon some sort of softwares related to it. Then ASRS. ASRS means automatic storage and retrieval equipment. So whenever some product gets inside the rack, it has to be digitally, it has to be, the data has to be known. This is what the product is all about. So some sort of digital identification. In short, it is called as AIDC. We learn everything. AIDC. Say barcode, it might be a barcode, it might be a QR code, or in some cases it might be like an RFID tag also. Then coming for AGVs and AMRs, material handling, automated guided vehicles, autonomous mobile robots. So they position wherever they move. So we need to know the functionality of those equipments indeed to understand the digital counterpart. So of course, when you take in case of a AGV, what is the start point, what is the destination, what is the path in which it is supposed to go, we are supposed to define. So web-based services are essential. Something like Google Map. You need to give the start point, you need to give the destination point. Then coming for location based. So storage or sortation based means again we should have some sort of algorithm based. So this component should go to this particular bin. Product of this nature should go to some other point. So something like that we are supposed to tell to the equipment. So smart shelving or pallets. So this is going to be purely based on data based. Now, in order to give it a very good example in this regard, I think a postal will give a very good idea. So when you see in a post office, what the activity of postman will be like this. He will receive bunch of or a pack of letters or the documents which is supposed to be delivered. Now they will sort out like this. Speed post will be kept in a different category because they have to be dealt at a faster rate rather than the regular. Now that is one simple sortaging activity what they do. Then coming further, so it will be shelved. So speed post will be taken care something in a different case. Then coming for the other things, then some documents might require acknowledgement slip, signature from acknowledgement, something court based activities means, or some crucial thing. So it will be where the receiver should acknowledge that we received this particular postal item so and so date, something, all this relevant data has to be maintained. So it will be shelved separately. Then coming for the other documents, general documents. Now what will be the main duty of the postman is they will segregate street wise. Street number 1. Again they will again another activity what they do is first they sort it like this. Street, there are 3 streets or they street 1, 2, 3. Then finally street 1 home number wise, house number wise, again they will arrange everything. So what they do is, it becomes easy for them to deliver. First they will focus on the speed post, then the second they will focus on to the acknowledgement based activities, then the third they will go for the individual things. So this is one human smartness comes into picture, because standing in front of a home and then you go and do all sorts of activities, you are going to waste the time. Within least possible time we can't deliver the things, so it is going to be a burden for the postman. So what he does is, inside the post office he does all these activities in a very easier way. So now he arranges everything, comes home, he comes to the first home, he delivers, go to the second, third, complete street 1, come back to the street 2, deliver, then do of this nature. So this is called as smart. If the same thing, if it is done automatically by means of some smart shelves or pallets, it's going to be of that nature. So again, let me give another example. See, often why we correlate with respect to example is, though you forget the actual essence of work of that particular attribute, the example will remind you, oh, this was the purpose, this is what the agenda is all about. So that is going to help you at all point of time. Valet parking. So if you get into any hi-fi mall or somewhere, you can see there are some valet parking facilities being offered by the respective operators, organization. Now there are some cars have been parked, so they will be in an order, those things would have been stacked, cars would have been stacked in the valet cases. All of a sudden you go and ask your car, so they should have some sort of cycle mechanism so that that can be taken out. If in the case of valet parking it is possible, if the key is available with them, yes, so that's what I use the term valet parking. Valet parking, it is possible. If they don't have the valet, what will be the scenario? So regular, something non-valet based cases, you are the first to enter into the mall, you parked your vehicle somewhere in between, that is first you went to the purchase. Post purchase, when you come and see somebody has parked there, somebody else's car has been parked ahead of you, so left to one particular situation where you can't take your car out, it is getting nicely packed inside, you can't take the car out. Now how will you solve this? You need to identify the person who was the one to do all these things, then you need to, it is going to be tedious process, or you need to get the help of those guys, so ultimately your work will not get solved out. So this is what smartness is all about. So what is the queuing theory which comes inside, who has to be in that particular position? So likewise in a warehouse it is going to be thought of. So now let us have a very clear understanding, there is a physical process and there is a digital counterpart, and both are going to work in sequence against a common time frame, they are going to work. So this is what we need to understand in this particular case. So when both are working anonymously towards one particular goal, and that goal is going to be 100% automated warehouse. So warehouse automation works by software, using software and technology like robotic sensors, everything. Yes, all such things comes under to this particular task. These products work in concert with existing tools like inventory management. There will be some, because all of a sudden you can't build, Rome can't be built in a day. It's going by the saying, all the things you can't come up with new. So what is the thing done here is, some existing tools will be there. So in coherence with that, so in abiding the existing things, we are going to develop. So it is going to help the business in a very critical operations, especially to meet the customer demand. So ultimately the aim is to meet out the customer demand. So usually it starts with a warehousing management system, because you should fix the objectives. We must fix the goals. What's the nature, everything we should go ahead with. So which process am I going to keep manual? What all are the process we are going for automatic work activities? How the data capturing either manual case or it is going to be automated case. So that's where you can come out with some sort of decision support system. So 100% you can't automate at day one. So partially you need to inject the activity of automation step by step. So step one, this will remain as such, and these all are the activities what we are going to automate. Likewise, we need to think of that planning has to be done. So that is what called as warehouse management system. So these systems are integrated. They are integrated together for the solutions with other solutions to efficiently manage and automate tasks across different business and supply chain functions. So whatever the activities you have inside the warehouse, this is what important. Inside the warehouse, you focus. Some cases outside also to be focused. For example, just to give an idea, so providing GPS to a truck which is going to carry the products which is going to be input for the warehouse. So where is the truck at its current position, so how much time will it take to reach, so that that acts as an input to the warehouse, so that you can plan everything. Say all of a sudden some 4 or 5 trucks together they came, now at a time is handling is difficult, but if you have got a clear micro planning, this particular truck will be reached by 10, half an hour will be required to unload it. So likewise you can plan, maybe you can inform the truck to come in a faster case, or you can ask them to take a while, little bit while they can run in a very slower case to reach. So likewise all such planning is essential. So integration among all these things is very crucial. So that's why WMS comes into picture. Now, digital automation. So where exactly digital automation starts is like this. Digital automation uses data and software to reduce manual workflows and eliminate errors. So this is where the first initial case, not the higher level or an hi-fi case. At the initial case, what it expects is data capture is going to be done automatic. This is what the first priority or the first function of digital automation. So it is called as AIDC. It is called as AIDC, automatic identification and data capture technology, AIDC. So before we get into what is AIDC, again let me jump into a very simple example. A traditional supermarket which is not having any sort of technology oriented case. So now I don't think so, no such supermarket do exist these days. So let me take a very simple, some general store nearby, some general store. You have just purchased some 10 or 15 types of products, okay, with different quantities, some liters of oils, some numbers of soap packets, so some kgs of groceries, cereals, something like that you have purchased. So now he is making out manual data entry, that is billing, manual billing. So soaps, so and so brand, number, then per unit, per quantity. Total 5 soaps, he does multiplication. Then liters of oil, so and so liters, per liter is like this, it goes on. So likewise he does everything. So think of what is the time essential for this. What is going to be the time essential for this, number one. And number two is very important thing. What will be the nature of omissions? Is he prone to, will he be in a position to omit certain products? Means yes, chances are there, chances are high. Then coming for other things, chances of error, you would have not updated the product batch count, so that rate would have been differing. Say batch number 1 might be some rate, batch number 2 will be some other MRP, that might be a reduction, or there might be an increase. Either case, both the people, that is customer as well as the shop, both are going to lose in this regard. So now let us again recall in a modern day supermarket case. So what is the thing? Nobody is doing manual, everything is automated. For each and every product there is a barcode, there is a QR code for certain supermarkets, that is just exposed to the reader. So immediately the bill comes out, and finally if you see the bill, you can see what is the tax. There are different types of categories of GST, so all such things comes into picture. And there are some supermarkets even they display like this, what was the MRP, what is the price the supermarket is offering, and what is the amount you have saved. So finally there will be some bold item stating that this much amount of rupees you have saved today towards this purchase. Likewise, and there are certain supermarkets where they give bonus points, the point gets accumulated, you need to give your phone number or name, something like that, so the points get accumulated, so that over a period of time you can redeem those points. Maybe you can get some discounts or some gifts or whatever may be the nature of attraction the supermarket, the policy is all about. But here, what is the takeaway is time. This is very important. Think with respect to time. See, I'll tell you one practical thing. Despite doing these many activities, when you see at the bottom of the bill, there will be one term called as E and OE. E and OE means errors and omissions are expected. You can accept. Okay, they are accepted. Having done all this technology, still we have got this safer term E and OE. But that is not even that possibility of error is also may be permitted in a supermarket, but that is not permitted in case of warehouse. So that is where we should go ahead with. So there are different types of technologies ADC. So very famous is RFID or mobile barcodes. You can use barcodes or you can use QR codes. There are different types of digital automations are there. See, digital automation is having several portfolios, but the prime member to do this particular digital task is AIDC, automatic identification and data capture. Then the second case. So the primary was with respect to data capture. Secondary, we have got an ERP system. So ERP system is going to help us at all point of time. It is going to enhance security. It is going to give very good data management. We are going to have very good smooth operational, legal risk, safety, everything is going to get minimized. One simple case is you can get the data at any point of time. Now, having used our ERP, even our college is having Masters of SVC ERP. Now, if you have been asked what's your earlier semester so and so subjects, third fact mark means will you be able to remember? No, it is not possible. As a human, no, we can't go ahead with. Earlier semester itself you can't remember, then how come your earlier semester, say first semester or second semester, but when you get into an ERP, till date you can get all your data. Say it might be attendance, it might be with respect to on duty, what are maybe the things. So paperless documents, yes, paperless documents is made possible thanks to the ERP systems. So that is going to be the second element for digital automation. The first being ADC and the second is with respect to ERP. Now, in addition to it, the first two elements are yes on a very successful case. Now, in addition to it, the first thing is worker experience. They are going to experience the work in a very interesting manner, not a traditional mundane tasks or repetitive task. No, it is going to the pride of the work is going to be taken to the next level. So customer service, yes, they can stand for a while, they can build and immediately payment can be done and they can be sent out of the supermarket as they are getting, rather than standing in a prolonged duration inside the queue, then it's going to be a delay. So that can be overcome with it. And another thing is you're going to reduce the operational cost. This is very important. So customer immediately goes out, so the operational cost is going to get minimized. If people are going on flocking the supermarket means, then operating cost, yes, you need to go ahead with good amount of securities, everything. So if you are able to systemize with respect to digital automation, operational costs are going to get half. That's what research says. You can bring down 50% of your operation cost once you have proper digital automation systems. Now we will see the automatic data capture items. What all are the things which exist today? The first thing is barcode. Probably everyone would have seen this barcode on anywhere you take up. Yes, barcodes are going to be present. Of course, each and every technology is having its own advantage as well as disadvantage. But all these things has a very fundamental advantage that I'll summarize in the later case. So barcode is going to be one thing, and second thing is biometric, bio-enabled area. But this is not applicable for a warehouse case, but it can be used not for the case of product identification. So who does the task? The system can be rather having a keyboard, a long keyboard. You can just have a biometric enabled activity. So you can scan the that is thumb and or whatever the finger. Yes, they can be permitted. NFC, this is very important. Wi-Fi, near field communication. You would have seen ATM cards which are having Wi-Fi. Even you need not to swipe, just expose it. Yes, it can do. So NFC, near field communication based device. QR codes. So another interesting area is QR codes, where the area is very small. Even barcode needs some 1 or 1.5 inches of space. But QR code it is not so. Unlike barcodes, they don't require 2 inch or so. Say some 10 square millimeters if you offer, that is highly efficient. Yes, you can do the same task what barcoder does. But barcode requires some 2.5 inches of space. But here it is not so. Hardly a size of the thumb, that is 10 square mm will solve the purpose. Then NFID or RFID, radio frequency identity card. So powerless activity. You need not have any sort of power. For example, the faster car, what we have attached to the cars. Yes, automatically we are not powering it up, right? We are not giving any amount of current to it. No charging business, nothing. So a simple chip having its own emission with respect to a microwave, it can be read by the reader, and yes, it is going to solve. So the basic common between all these technologies, there are two things are there. One is receiver and the other thing is emitter. Emitter is not going to have any sort of power in any of these cases. Barcode is just a sticker, QR code is a sticker, RFID is going to be something like a card of ATM card size nature. Even today there is a drop with respect to size also. Biometric, no, just a human finger will solve the purpose. And similarly NFC, near field communication, within a small proximity area it is going to get read up. So none of this, everything falls under passive category. Passive category. Without power, you can go ahead with. So now the first case, earlier we discussed about investment in automation. So now that investment is not, abruptly it is not necessary. So physical automation. So digital automation, the first step we discussed. Now physical automation. So physical automation is something which needs larger amount of activities to be done, because that is going to lift, it is going to weigh, it is going to do some physical activities. So obviously human intervention is necessary here, but on a very minimum scale. So it need to be highly efficient. So here the advantages, yes, they are the one which is going to lift the product physically from one point to another point. So therefore their efficiency will always be high. Of course it is supposed to be high. Reliability, scalability is very important. Today we'll be working with some SKUs, stock keeping units. This is what often used unit with respect to a warehouse, SKU, stock keeping units. So SKUs, today the system what you have incorporated might be handling some 10 SKUs. Tomorrow that should be in a scalable case. That has to be increased. So that need to be considered. So now finally, before we conclude, let me summarize. Here we just saw about the differences between the types, that is physical as well as digital. What is the role of physical we discussed. What is role of the physical as well as the role of digital we discussed. Two steps in digital, that is automatic data identification followed by some paperless ERP solutions. Then the role of physical. Here physical is going to be literally, it is going to be a tough task here. So it is going to have some cluster of technologies. We will see what all are the different types of material handling, physical attribute oriented automated elements we will see. And finally, we saw about some 5 types of AADC techniques, automatic data capture techniques we discussed. So with this, we finish the chapter types of warehousing automation technologies. So in upcoming presentations, in upcoming sessions, we learn about what all are the different types of physical automation oriented technologies. We'll just have an understanding. So thank you once again. Thank you all.